Hi, my dear Astro family. Today we are going to be talking about the new Mercury cycle, which is not actually new. And that's what I want to show you. But we have got a Sun and Mercury Cazimi, and this is going to be the middle of the cycle. So I'm sharing the screen so I can show you what exactly happens. So we had a conjunction between the Sun and Mercury on 20th of November 2025. And that went down on 28 degree of Scorpio. And as you can see, it was a new moon. So it happened exactly on the new moon. Now, a new Mercury cycle always happens when Mercury retrograde is making a conjunction to the sun. This is a Cazimi. This is kind of like a new moon phase. What's very interesting about this, that we had a new moon actually happening with that Mercury Cazimi. And on top of that, this was opposing Uranus. Now, the current conjunction, which is taking place on the 21st of January in all major time zones, right here. Oh, I clicked on the wrong one. Sorry. That is happening on 1 degree of Aquarius, quite tightly conjuncting Pluto. And this is basically the full moon cycle of Mercury. So we have got a Mercury cycle that is going to last for approximately about 116 days. So it's about 4 months. And the new moon cycle is always about planting the seeds. So around the 20th of November, we started planting the seeds in the sign of Scorpio. Now, in the sign of Aquarius, basically, this is going to be more to do with the exposure of that. So that's what I would like to break down for you so that you can have a great understanding. Of course, it's important to mention that Mercury is going to be running and making a new cycle with Pluto, with Vesta, as well as with Venus eventually. So there's a lot more going on, but I'm focusing today on how you can combine the scorpionic part of your chart with, for example, the Aquarius part of your chart. And I'm going to show you a couple of examples as well according to specific rising signs. So, Mercury Pluto conjunction at 1 degree of Aquarius is the full moon moment in the synodic cycle of Mercury that started back in November. This is basically, imagine this as a culmination of the journey that went down in the sign of Scorpio, which I said it was the new moon phase of Mercury. So something from private and an intense investigation that is going to become public. It's a collective revelation, basically. That's exactly what's happening with this Mercury. So we're going to have to think about what Mercury is. Imagine that this is talking to us about a power shift. We had a certain type of a secret, and then somehow it gets showed. So we've got that Scorpio phase, which was very much about behind the scenes maneuvers, deep research, and the Aquarius is the culmination, which brings these findings into the open. So it's exposing certain type of power structures. Let me give you a corporate example, how I can imagine. Imagine that in November, let's say we had a whistleblower or we had an internal audit. And then certain type of quiet investigations started to take place, let's say around financial discrepancies, which is a very scorpionic topic. Now we've got this late January where they release this data-driven report, which is Aquarius, that forces a total restructuring of the leadership. And that could be Pluto, because Pluto is making a conjunction to this Aquarius new phase of the Mercury, which is a full moon phase. Or imagine that in November, you spend time digging into your family history or your lineage, or you looked at your psychological blockages, which is very scorpionic. And because Aquarius is the sign of breakthrough, so there is a certain type of realization, which is going to allow you to break certain type of patterns. For example, it allows you to speak your truth, let's say to your family and so forth, and then you are claiming your own power back. Or, I mean, Aquarius is very much about AI, right? Aquarius rules the future. Pluto rules the deep architecture of the systems in that case. So I can imagine that you have been working on a coding or certain type of algorithm. And that was initiated back in November, and then it reaches the peak now. So we are ready to pretty much launch something. I'm gonna give you my own personal example because I've been working on a membership site, a digital course library, and I've been waiting for kind of like to get to a full circle, kind of like figuring out what exactly I'm going to be doing with that. And now I'm pretty much ready to go live with it. I'm ready to unveil the system that I just came up with. And it's kind of like going to be a Netflix type of a digital course library, but more details on that in the upcoming weeks because we're going to start very soon. Because Mercury is in conjunction to Pluto right now as well. Imagine this as a mental surgery. So, in the sign of Aquarius, this would be about the old, the rigid, certain type of social beliefs. And then we are making room for a radical new one to replace that. But most likely in November, we did certain type of research around it. So, because Scorpio is a fixed sign, this could be, for example, about something that we believe that it was safe, or we want to kind of be hide behind, and then now we are kind of like ready to destroy it, Pluto. We are ready to dismantle it. I want to give another example because for me, Scorpio is the ninth house. And I was doing all, ninth house is connected to publishing. So I was doing a lot of editing on my upcoming books. So the fourth house is already released. The 12th house is already, sorry, the 12th house is already released. The second house is already released. And I'm about to be finishing the fourth house booklet. So just the design and the final editing left. So I'm hoping that this new Mercury cycle is going to be able to make that happen very soon. And it should be making it very soon. But this is about with Scorpio, something behind the scenes. It's a bit of a darkness. I was writing about 12 house topics, which is addiction, loss, secrets, and so forth. And now it comes into a higher mind perspective. And that's the Aquarius part of our chart. That's a power of the collective unconscious. This is about the realization that the anchor is found, for example, in the community that we build, the friendships that we make, or who we network with, and so forth. This is Aquarius is about friendship and social groups. So this full moon phase can actually bring intense clarity to the people that we are surrounded by as well. Maybe it's a group of people that felt really heavy, Scorpio, or hidden or toxic back in November, and then it gets illuminated. And then you're going to start seeing the power dynamics for who they are, what they are. And you don't react with scorpionic drama anymore. You just use the logic, Aquarius, to kind of set these firm but transformative boundaries. And then it's about the reset of your entire relationship with others. So imagine the scorpionic part of your chart. Back in November, it was more of an incubation. And then now we've got this Aquarius part of our chart in the middle of the cycle. This is about realization. And Pluto is trying to transform our belief systems around it. So, I started thinking about what went down in 2025 in November when the new cycle started. Of course, I'm talking about worldly events. One of the things that stood out to me was the longest US government shutdown. That was about 43 days, the longest ever in history. And if you really think about it, that's very much of a scorpionic type of stuff, a period of paralysis, hidden negotiations, that is somehow forcing a total systemic restart here with this new Pluto, Mercury, Sun conjunction that is happening. Or back in November in Nepal, the prime minister resigned because there was this massive anti-government protests. And simultaneously, the Bangladesh PM was found guilty of crimes against humanity as well. So I can imagine that this is the culmination of past actions that are coming to light. Certain type of secrets are revealed here, because that's exactly what Pluto does. It illuminates secrets, something that has been hidden, especially from back from November. Scorpio brings the shadow to the surface. And it looks like that this is, connected to shared resources, for example. So this could be a time when these informations are leaked and stuff like that. I was even looking at the fact that between November 10th to 21st, the UN Climate Change Conference took place in Brazil as well. And they were massively focusing on the Amazon rainforest. And let's see, but this might be a plan, a humanitarian plan of what we might be actually expecting to do, or to, like, their plans are getting implemented, basically. Um, there was also the new Glenn rocket that landed for the very first time, and that was a massive step towards, the private space flight and that type of technology. So we might be able to get some new insights around that as well. So all these are the scorpionic side of the cycle, that government shutdowns, environmental crises, confronting the shadows of past political leaders. It is about something that is getting revealed, what's broken, what's hidden, what's not working anymore, and it's about the implementation of something new. But instead of shutdowns, we should see a new system being built. Instead of secret negotiations, we should see more of a transparency and data being leaked, and kind of like more a community-based negotiations and so forth. Or Scorpio is very much the fear-based control. So maybe it's about coming up with certain type of collective solutions and stuff like that. So, very briefly, this is what I imagine with this new cycle. I think it's worth thinking about your natal chart. And if you have got any planets on 28 degree of the fixed signs, which is Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, or Aquarius, then basically, something that might have gone down in November in the quiet, but now it's gonna get into the open. So I would love to hear your personal stories. What went down back in November, and then how do you think this revelation, this exposure is gonna be happening for you? But let's have a look at a couple of rising signs. For example, I'm gonna pick Aries and Virgo rising. So Aries rising sign, the Scorpio part of your chart is the eighth house. So there is a transition from the eighth house to the 11th house. So you planted the seeds in the eighth house back in November 2025. And that might have involved some type of private matters, taxes, shared resources, inheritance, psychological purging. Maybe you had to be dealing with other people's money or secret power struggles that felt heavy, or internal changes that you wanted to make. Now, the Aquarius peak is, which is happening in your 11th sign, that secret, that private work you did in November is now becoming a public asset. If you haven't done the the work, the internal work, it's still going to get exposed by your friends, but then it might be confrontational because the Scorpio and the Aquarius elements are in square to each other. Imagine that you were restructuring your business or business debts or something like that. And then now maybe you are ready to launch that. You're ready to kind of, because the 11th house is something to do with internet related matters, platforms, and so forth. So I can imagine such thing. And with that Pluto now, kind of like at the gateway of your 11th house, the friendships that you are making are not necessarily that casual, more transformative, and you might be meeting a very powerful person, for example. And then you are, with Mercury, you're trying to speak their language as well. Of course, there could be a lot of other scenarios here, but let me just pick a couple so that you can understand how to read this together. This is not necessarily more like I'm just trying to teach you how to read them together. Let's have a look at, for example, Virgo rising sign. So then we have got the third sign and the sixth sign getting activated for you. So the new moon phase happened in your third house, which is about, research, being obsessed with a specific topic. For example, maybe you were mentally processing something, you were writing, or you had to be having some difficult conversations with people in your life. The Aquarius peak is that this information is now moving into your sixth house, the house of work, daily routine, health. This is the full moon phase. So all those deep scorpionic insights that you learn from your siblings, for example, are going to become a functional system. Let's find a solution. Let's solve it. I had an argument with my sibling, with my neighbor. Now there is a resolution here. Or maybe you were doing a bit of a research about transcripts or what to study and stuff like that. And then now it's about kind of like mastering it, finding the time to study a little bit more, digging a little bit deeper in it, and so forth. Imagine that Mercury and Pluto is kind of like the efficient surgeon here. So this is about trying to like realizing that the current way of working is toxic and then it is impacting my health or the efficiency, and I'm ready to make changes. And maybe you were just thinking about it back in November, with the third house. So maybe you are ready to kill off a bad habit that you were thinking about, you did research about, you read about, and so forth. But now I'm ready to upgrade it. I'm ready to make it happen, especially when Mars joins the Aquarius club as well. So guys, I hope this video helps you to understand. Especially those people will be affected who have got planets on 28 degree of the fixed signs as well as 1 degree of the fixed signs. Then those people are going to be impacted by this very significantly. I recommend looking at your progress chart and your solar arc chart as well, because those might be showing you further possibilities. So it's not just your natal chart, okay? So I can see that, I'm looking at my own chart. Do I have anything on 28 degree of the fixed sign? Nothing in Scorpio, nothing in Aquarius, nothing in Taurus, and nothing in Leo. Okay, so natally I'm not getting triggered. Do I have got any planets on 1 degree of the fixed signs? Kind of. We've got Saturn there close by, but maybe it's not close enough. Okay, so I don't have anything. And then you can be looking at just looking at your solar arc or your secondary progress chart as well to get a bit more idea about that. Okay, so I've got the progressed midheaven on 0 degrees, so that's gonna count there. I'm making changes around my way of working, my reputation, and so forth. Okay, so surely I would be considering that as important. I've got my progress nessus on 1 degree of Leo, so that might be a way of kind of like thinking about it. I've got 2 degree Venus right now. So that might be also super important. Okay. So nothing in the natal chart, but in the progress chart, something gets triggered. Do exactly the same with your solar arc chart as well. And then you will be able to get a bit more information how these things are going to be playing out for you. So good luck, everyone. I hope this video helps. If it does, you know what to do. Press like, make a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you. See you soon. Bye bye.